Hi, my name's Travis, and the world is going through a tough time right now. Possibly over 100,000 people could die. The economy will likely be in a lot of trouble for a long time. But, and a lot of people might lose their jobs. A lot of people might go through a very difficult period of their lives. But I have to remember that there's always a bright side to everything. There's always a sun behind the clouds. For those who haven't seen me, back in February of 2019, I was hit by a van while crossing the street. The van was going 35 miles an hour, and my neck was broken. I had a serious TBI. My intelligence was really messed up. My memory was awful. I thought the best job ever be able to get would be an extremely low wage job, which isn't a problem for me, but it would not make me feel like I am succeeding at my potential or what my potential used to be. I went to law school to become an attorney. I might never become an attorney now. I might not get hired by anyone. But again, this is okay. This makes me realize that I'm not as intelligent as I once thought I was. My memory is still shit. And that's okay. Now I realize I don't have to be an attorney. I can do other things to help people. And to me, that's amazing. So I'm actually grateful that the accident happened. Like, I would not turn anything that's ever happened to me around. Just because an unfortunate thing happens doesn't mean my world's awful. There's always a bright side. There's always a silver lining. So after the accident, I went home for about 6 months and to be treated at a neurological center in Burkittsville. And when I was there, I saw a whole lot of people in much worse condition than me. There were people who couldn't walk. There were people who couldn't think straight. There were people who were completely devastated by their accident. And I was grateful for being in the condition that I am because, I should not be alive right now. I should not be as well off as I am. And at that neurological center, it's a center in Burkittsville, Ohio. And the first thing I said when I got there, like they don't take health insurance. So they're completely funded by locals and they don't have as much money as I thought they should have. And the first thing I said, why don't you accept health insurance? You could be so much more well off. But now I realize the beauty in it. People around the area, businesses around the area, donate to this neurological center and put so many people in better shape than they once were. My grandma had an aneurysm a while back, and her life was very hard. She was not in the condition that I ever remember her being, but she went to this neurological center for an extremely long time, and her life improved. My dad was in a motorcycle accident, and he had a serious brain injury, and he was in terrible condition. I thought he would never be the same. But he started going to this neurological center and his life greatly improved. Personally, I think he's as happy as he's ever been and maybe happier. And so, again, a good thing can result from anything. I never wanted to return home. My hometown, which has about 30 people, 30 residents, and it's in the middle of nowhere, has very different political opinions than me. They have very different opinions on culture than me. My family thinks differently than me. My high school friends think different than me. Everything is the opposite of the way I think it should be. But I went home and I realized there is a reason folks there think that way. There's actually beauty in it. People there are some of the most caring, some of the most loving, some of the most generous people I've ever met. And I had to go home to realize that. I had to go home to realize they weren't as evil as I thought I was, that their opinions weren't destroying America. They have a place in this country. They have as much of a place as I do. They have as much a place as anyone, any politician, any person in this country does. Just because they agree with me politically or culturally doesn't mean that there's a problem with them. And I had to be there to realize that. For part of the time after the accident, I lived in a very low income community in Columbus, Ohio. The neighborhood was mainly minorities, it was mainly of African Americans. I was one of the few white people that lived in my neighborhood. There were shootings and violent acts often happened in my neighborhood. But being there was actually a good thing for me. I realized what it's like to be in a different culture. I realized how the world can be different. I've never really been exposed to that many minorities in my life. So being there was a good thing for me. Now even though I am liberal, I have never looked at people who were extremely different than me in the same way. Now I can see everyone as people. This accident has made me view the world in a completely different way. So my point is, something good can happen from everything. There is always a silver lining. I hope that this devastation is going to result in a good thing. I might be wrong in what I believe is going to happen. But again, that's okay. It makes me more positive now. And if I'm wrong, it just means the clouds are darker than I thought they were. There's always a sun behind it. Everything is always going to work out. So just remember, when we're going through these tough times, there's always a bright side. Something good can come from anything. No matter how terrible I think it is, even if it happens to me, even if I would die, it's going to help someone in some way. And I hope everyone keeps this in mind. There might be a lot of people who go through much worse things than me. But I hope they think that something positive is always going to result from it. So in the next few days, I'll talk about the actual coronavirus outbreak that we're going through right now. But until then, I hope you have a great day. And more importantly, I hope you're grateful for how amazing this world is. And I hope you keep a positive outlook on everything. Thanks. Bye-bye.